This is ESBR Boxing. Delighted, as always, to be joined by my good friend, my colleague, Elliott Greg. Elliott, Christmas cracker here. We are talking, of course, about the massive boxing event, sorry, should I say, the undisputed super bantamweight fight in Japan on Boxing Day. We're in for a real treat, aren't we, over Christmas? Full bellies on Boxing Day, having the Christmas Day leftovers, just switching on the TV, and here we are. We've got some boxing in Japan and 2 o'clock in the afternoon, UK time. Unbelievable, sensational way to spend your Boxing Day afternoon. Thanks very much for joining me, mate. Looking forward to this one. As I said at the start, this is of course our kind of final predictions and last thoughts, so to speak, of the super fight, of course, on Boxing Day between Naoya Inoue and Marlon Tapales for all of the marbles at super bantamweight. Elliot, as this fight's approached, how excited are you for it? Just its second fight up at Super Bantam, and Inouye's already. I'm looking at an undisputed fight once again.
Yeah, I am excited. I'm excited. I'm not, I'm a fan of the lower weights, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. I feel like you get more exciting fights down there. Just, I suppose, due to the fact that, one punch can end it, the seemingly the heavier you get. But I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see, anyway, like, obviously, the guys run through his resume already. The people he's run through is ridiculously impressive. I'm always excited to see him, not necessarily also just because he's got power, but because I think he's underrated boxing ability as well. I think he's a superb fighter, very exciting to watch. And again, very excited to see how he gets on in this, as you said, this second fight for Super Bantam.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible, really, isn't it? You look at Inouye's resume and it's just perfect. And you think, the fact that he started his career at what? Flyweight, super flyweight. He missed one of the weight divisions and then went up to Bantam, of course, undisputed at Bantamweight. Steps up in his first fight at 122 pounds, of course, earlier this year. Fights Stephen Fulton in a fight where I hold my hands up. I thought Stephen Fulton could maybe hand away the first defeat of his career, but boy, oh boy, I was wrong. It was a one-sided beatdown almost before the stoppage, in the eighth or ninth round, I think it was. He, of course, claimed two belts then, which is how we've got this undisputed fight with Marlon Tapales, who himself, last time out, as the underdog, beat the formerly undefeated Akhmadaliev. I actually vaguely remember, Elliot, you and I doing the preview, like we normally do the weekly previews for the Tapales Akhmadaliev fight, earlier in 2023 as well, and we were both very much on the Akhmadaliev hype train. And at the time, we were calling for the undisputed fight with Fulton. Now, obviously, neither of them are champions, but we've still got the undisputed fight. It's Fulton Tapales. Kind of, before we come on to the actual predictions and talking about how we see the fight playing out, do you make Tapales? He's obviously a big underdog here, as will everyone be when they fight Inoue. Do you make him a real live underdog here? Well, how do you make him compared to what you had Fulton as? Do you give Tapales more of a chance than Fulton or less?
Oh, that's a very, very good question, Paul. Thank you for that eloquent, I suppose, breakdown introduction to the fight, and also for reminding people that I was indeed wrong in the Akhmadaliev Tapales prediction as well. It's hard for me because, again, I know we had obviously the Inoue Fulton fight, which I thought was going to be a lot closer than it turned out. So for me, in my head, I'm still kind of seeing Fulton. I don't even know whether it was Fulton. I mean, obviously, Inoue was sensational, but I don't know whether Fulton was disappointing in that fight for various reasons or whatever as well. So it's like, what I'm trying to get at, not taking anything away from that victory, is what I'm trying to get at. I'd still probably have Fulton ahead of Tapales if in the rankings. To be perfectly honest with you, I know I know he's not officially in the sort of ring rankings now, obviously, but I'd still probably have him personally as above Tapales. But I do make Tapales a live opponent here. To be honest with you, I I do and I don't, in the sense that sorry, let me just cough there. He said he's had a lot of fights. He's only 31 years old. But I think if you look at the stats, I mean, obviously, I'm not stood next to both men with a tape measure. But if you're looking at sort of box rec and how they're supposed to sort of compare, actually, Inouye's the bigger man, with a bigger reach, slightly taller as well, which to me is a bad and worrying sign for someone like Tapales as well, in that division. So I kind of make him a credible opponent, but to be honest with you, I don't. And this is probably going to obviously be a bit of a spoiler to the prediction, but I don't actually think he's going to provide a significant challenge to Inoue, frankly. I'd probably still have Fulton as number two. If they could have that fight maybe again in the US, I'd like to see that again just to see if it was Fulton kind of disappointing. or whether Inoue will just cruise him and crush him again. But yeah, I still probably have Fulton at two, probably to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I think it's interesting when you look at it and think, obviously, yeah, from the sense that Tapales is a unified world champion. He beat Ahmed Aliyev fair and square, as the underdog, of course, won those belts. So he rightfully deserves a shot at winning all of the marbles. You know what I mean? It's just unfortunate for him that it's against Inoue.
Mm.
Um, but then from Inoue's perspective, you look at that. I really did give Stephen Fulton a chance against Inoue because Fulton's wins at Super Bantam. Remember, one of my favorite featherweights in the world, as you well know, Brandon Figueroa, who's a bit of the boogeyman or the boogeyman at featherweight now. Fulton beat him at Super
Mm.
Bantamweight. So I was sitting thinking that's stellar form. You know what I mean? I was really giving him a good chance. And then the fact that Inoue is so much smaller than what Figueroa had been, but then obviously styles make fights and all that old cliche, and it wasn't to be. But I kind of did give Fulton a big chance last time out, which makes me think that yes, Tapales is obviously a live underdog. I don't want to write him off saying that he's useless or anything. He's clearly a world level fighter. But we've said it countless times before with even the likes of Bam Rodriguez against Sonny Edwards.
Mm.
There's world level and then there's just elite level. And I think that's going to be what we find out on Boxing Day here in Japan, because I think with Inoue, you're not talking about a world level fighter. You're talking about the level above that. Very few fighters who are elite, but I think Naoya Inoue, it's certainly one of them. I suppose we've kind of buttered it up nicely. Now we've got it brewing. Elliot, the kettle's about to boil. And as it does, I would like you to give me your final prediction, your definitive final prediction for Naoya Inoue against Marlon Tapales, who is walking away on Boxing Day on the Tuesday, the 26th of December, with every belt at 122 pounds.
You know what, Paul? I want to go out this year with a bang. I want to go out with a correct prediction. So I'm hoping that the man doesn't let me down here. But I'm obviously going to go with Inoue, and I'm going to go stoppage, Paul. I can't see anything other. Like I said, the size, the age, the people he's beaten. I think he's gonna crush through to Tapales. I really do. And I was shocked, obviously, that he. I was actually shocked that he stopped Fulton in the way that he stopped Fulton. To be perfectly honest with you, that really was eye-opening. When obviously we've seen him stop a lot of champions before. We saw him blitz out Daenerys in the second round, for example. But you could also make arguments he wasn't necessarily as fresh as obviously he once was. You kind of caveat it, but when he blasted out Fulton in eight rounds, it was even one of those eye-raising moments. And I think we've got a KO count here. I really do, and I think to be honest with you, I can see it being inside 6 rounds. I think he'll just step in there and stop him in the first half of the fight.
Very interesting, mate. I was just about to ask you there, to go a little deeper on the when the rounds, when perhaps that knockout will come. But you did. You said first half of the fight, and do you know what, mate? I'm finding it very difficult to disagree with you. Think that Niall and I did the betting show for this Inoue Palace fight, so go check that out in the channel if you haven't already. And we were kind of slightly different opinions. Now thought the knockout would come for Inoue too, but maybe in round 7 to 9 kind of range. I think it was a little after the second, just into the second half of the fight. I think it'll come in the first half of the fight as well, mate. I don't see it being a 1 or 2 round blowout, but I do think it could go 4, 5, 6, and I genuinely don't see it going into round 7. I just don't. Palace is obviously a world level fighter, but in his 3 defeats, he has been stopped twice against punchers far lesser than Naoya Inoue. And that's not giving Inoue any credit as the boxing ability as well. It's just like he's not just a puncher, as you mentioned at the beginning. He's far more than that. Just because he's got such a sensational knockout ratio, everyone thinks that that's all he's got. But boxing ability, ring IQ, speed, timing, everything is just perfect. And I think that the knockout is coming in the first half of the fight as well, probably around the round 4 or 5 mark. So yeah, I think, mate, we're both very much on the Inoue train here, and who knows what's next for him. Should he win this and end 2023 as the undisputed champion at super bantamweight, will we see him go up again to 126 pounds and potentially win a belt at featherweight as well? Who knows? How far could he go? Could he go all the way up to even lightweight, super lightweight? No, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, really looking forward to this one, mate. Appreciate your time as always, guys. Let us know your final predictions and thoughts on Inoue Tapales, the undisputed fight on Boxing Day. But Elliot, thanks very much for joining me, mate. Enjoyed that. Have a good Christmas and speak to you again soon.
you very much. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. As Paul said, have a great Christmas.